Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to talk about the limitations on retrospective restatement of errors in financial statements. This topic is crucial for anyone involved in preparing or analyzing financial reports. Let's get started. A prior period error shall be corrected by retrospective restatement except to the extent that it is impracticable to determine either the period-specific effects or the cumulative effect of the error. When correcting errors in financial statements, the general rule is to restate the prior periods as if the error never occurred. However, there are situations where it's impractical to determine the exact effects of the error for each period. When it is impracticable to determine the period-specific effects of an error on comparative information for one or more prior periods presented, the entity shall restate the opening balances of assets, liabilities, and equity for the earliest period for which retrospective restatement is practicable, which may be the current period. If it's impossible to figure out the specific impact of an error for previous periods, you should adjust the opening balances for the earliest period where it's practical to make the correction. This could even be the current period. When it is impracticable to determine the cumulative effect at the beginning of the current period of an error on all prior periods, the entity shall restate the comparative information to correct the error prospectively from the earliest date practicable. If you can't determine the total impact of an error up to the beginning of the current period, adjust the comparative information from the earliest possible date going forward. The correction of a prior period error is excluded from profit or loss for the period in which the error is discovered. Any information presented about prior periods, including any historical summaries of financial data, is restated as far back as is practicable. Corrections for prior period errors should not affect the profit or loss of the period in which they are discovered. Instead, adjust historical data as far back as possible to present accurate comparative information. When it is impracticable to determine the amount of an error, e.g., a mistake in applying an accounting policy, for all prior periods, the entity, in accordance with paragraph 45, restates the comparative information prospectively from the earliest date practicable. It therefore disregards the portion of the cumulative restatement of assets, liabilities, and equity arising before that date. If you can't determine the amount of an error for all prior periods, adjust the comparative information prospectively from the earliest practical date. Ignore any cumulative effects that occurred before that date. Let's look at some practical examples to clarify these points. Scenario: a company discovers an error in revenue recognition over several years but can't pinpoint the exact amounts for each year. Correction: the company adjusts the opening balances for the earliest year where it's practical to determine the correction, which might be the current year. Scenario: an error in inventory valuation has cumulative effects over many years, but the total impact is unclear. Correction: the company adjusts the comparative information from the earliest date it can practically make the correction moving forward. Corrections of errors are distinguished from changes in accounting estimates. Accounting estimates by their nature are approximations that may need revision as additional information becomes known. For example, the gain or loss recognized on the outcome of a contingency is not the correction of an error. In summary, while correcting errors in financial statements, it's sometimes impractical to restate all prior periods. In such cases, make adjustments from the earliest practical date. Always distinguish between errors and changes in estimates to ensure accurate financial reporting. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insights on accounting and financial reporting.